Greetings, families. Welcome back once again. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If this is your first time, my name is Mamri and you are very welcome. This video, I must warn you ahead, it's about the battlefield. All of it, about 20 minutes are put together. So yes, so you can see what is really going on the ground of the AES. They speak it to us, they tell us, they show us. It's different from what you see from other YouTube channels, because I'm not going to make a voice over it. I'm taking it straight from RTM and RTB News. Families, please watch and listen, and I'll be back.
Bad weather for the terrorists. In recent days, in the regions of Bukle Jununun, Central-East, East, Central-North, and the Sahel, fighters on the ground as well as in the air have shown heroism by striking down the terrorists and recovering significant equipment. A full report with Bienvenue Tonsale. These past weeks have been marked by fierce fighting on the ground and also in the air. Several operations have been carried out in various sectors. In the World Loop, units ambushed criminal groups and provided offensive reconnaissance. On Netriad, in the Nunan area, the fighting forces ambushed a criminal group at Tisi, neutralizing some of them and recovering logistical equipment. On May 5th, the Bivon 1 units ambushed enemy lookouts and neutralized them in the Titao area. In the Jogan area, on the same day, an offensive reconnaissance by our forces made contact with a group of criminals. Several were neutralized and equipment was recovered. On May 6th, in the Sahel area, criminals came to attack gold miners at their site. The latter confronted them with their bare hands, neutralized them, and recovered the weapons before the combat forces arrived on the scene to secure the area. On May 8th and 10th, in the Jibaso area, several offensive reconnaissance missions made it possible to neutralize criminals and recover equipment. On May 13th, units from the 25 BIR, during an offensive reconnaissance mission in the Pama area, made contact with the enemy and neutralized several criminals, recovering some logistical equipment. Yesterday, May 15th, the men of the 20th BIR set up an ambush for a team of enemy lookouts, neutralizing them and recovering equipment. By air, several support operations for the units were carried out, as well as intelligence-based operations. On April 29th, while the Futuri Gaeri convoy was advancing, criminals were spotted on the heights harassing the convoy with mortar fire. They were observed by the fighters in the sky. They are locked on and struck effectively. The ground units will arrive at the position and finish the job. On May 20th, based on intelligence reporting a massive presence of criminals in the woods at Sawenga in the Central East, aerial assets will refine the intelligence and carry out heavy strikes on enemy positions. A first large bomb will fall on the enemy in the middle of the woods. Then, at a certain point, the survivors come back to try to salvage whatever they can. A second bomb will violently fall on them at that very moment. They burn along with all of their equipment in the process. Those who decided to flee after the first strikes made the right choice, but not for long, because they are tracked to their fallback base and struck there as well. Still on May 20th, surveillance in the Bull area will make it possible to spot a column of criminals moving quickly toward a wooded area. They are tracked until they gather under a large tree where other criminals were waiting for them. Once the groups have joined, a missile interrupts their preparations for a possible attack. At the same time, surveillance in the Diabo area will make it possible to spot a group of criminals dangerously approaching the locality. Then, as they get closer to the locality, they regroup to finalize their plan. They are immediately struck. On May 3rd, based on intelligence, an important terrorist position is detected in W National Park. Immediately, the fighters in the sky bomb the position. The survivors form small groups to flee the area by heading further south and end up in an abandoned forestry post. They are being followed. There, they will be struck efficiently and will burn along with their equipment. On May 3rd, while the future convoy is still arriving in Yamba to settle in, criminals are spotted at the rear of the convoy, scrutinizing its tracks. They are undoubtedly searching for the precise location of the bivouac, moving carefully and methodically through the terrain as they attempt to pinpoint its exact position. Their reconnaissance is carried out with great caution, as they are aware of the potential dangers that may be lurking nearby. However, at the most critical and opportune moment, while they are still in the midst of their careful observations and scouting, On May 6th, criminals are spotted a few kilometers east of the village of Nagare. They are immediately struck dead. On May 6th, still in the Sulu Valley, surveillance will make it possible to detect a major terrorist position. The criminals then undergo an intense bombardment of their position. They burn along with their equipment. It is around 5:30 on May 8th when the aerial units are alerted to intense fighting between the Kuril VDP and criminals in the Bogande area. The VDP bravely hold their position and the criminals decide to flee. The military aircraft arrive on the scene and actively pursue the heavily armed criminals, launching a few targeted strikes on the moving column in the area. On May 11th, at around 5:40 in the morning, the aerial units are alerted to intense fighting in Djibo against criminals who have arrived in large numbers. They head there and observe the fighting from a distance. The fast aircraft arrives and finds the criminals assaulting the base. It begins the initial strikes. But that's not enough. The criminals arrive by the hundreds, even thousands, and are all around the base. Other vehicles are immediately called in as reinforcements. Meanwhile, you can see the criminals escaping with a stolen armored vehicle which is being closely tracked. They take it to Nasombo and hide it. Several vehicles then arrive on the battlefield and a real aerial battle breaks out. Then, Wounded criminals trapped in the fortifications around the base are seen hiding. They are immediately struck. With no choice but to flee the area with their wounded, they decide to exfiltrate. They are followed in order to ambush them. Several strikes are carried out to prevent them from escaping. They turn back, cross the city, and try to exfiltrate through the dam area. An aerial ambush is set for them on this route as well. A powerful missile is dropped on them in the area. They change their route, but another missile catches up with them. Then, at a certain point, the fighters in the sky decide to watch them return to their base for the next phase of the battle on site. Indeed, they split up and head to the various bases at Nasongu, Filio, Kerebole, Taurimba, Buro, Demba, and several other hamlets. The targets are locked in, and an air campaign is launched simultaneously with ground reinforcements. They start with Taurimat in the afternoon of the same day. Then Filio, where several members were needed given the number of fighters who had returned there. In Belede, criminals took refuge in this orchard. They will be dealt with there. At Kerebule, the positions are immediately locked in as well and struck. Then come the positions at Boro and Osongu, which will undergo several bombings. Then, after observing these strikes, more criminals are detected moving supplies and reorganizing in the Nasongo area. They would be immediately targeted. On May 15th, certain identified positions in the area will be targeted for strikes. The survivors flee in small groups. The pursuit continues in the area. On May 14th, observations in the Silbengi area made it possible to detect several criminals under dense trees in Kosoge. They are locked in and struck. The survivors are closely tracked. Later that night, thinking they were out of danger, a powerful missile will strike them. The men of the 9th unit operating in the area will deploy to finish the job. This May 13, while the units of the 21st BIR and the 12th RIC are operating in the Sole area, compared to our units on the ground, criminals are spotted by the forward observers of these units setting up an ambush. They alert the air fighters who arrive and take control of the situation. You can see one of the criminal leaders making rounds to properly position his teams under the bushes along the route of the units. The Vectors launch an attack against one of the teams in perfect coordination with the ground units. Then, the element leader who was coordinating is followed all the way to the terrorist base, where he goes to seek reinforcements. He confers with other criminals at the base. Then, just as they are about to move, they are struck down. The base is then bombed by fighter jets. Still on May 13th, the criminals will experience the wrath of the sky fighters in the east. Indeed, based on intelligence about imminent attacks against towns and friendly positions in the Bamfora area, up to the Ivorian border, by criminals who had settled in large numbers over the past 2 days in the Dida forest at the Ivorian border, units from the 2nd Rapid Intervention Group launched Operation Whirlwind 3. The units are supported by aerial assets monitoring the area. After detection, a small missile is launched to initiate hostilities. The sky fighters quickly realize that this is a major base. They therefore reinforce themselves for the battle. At exactly 14:26, a large bomb strikes the enemy. The units of the 7th BIR launched the offensive on the base. Then, at a certain point, fighting breaks out at the front and enemy reinforcements advance into the area. In perfect coordination with the ground units, the aerial vectors join the action. The criminals flee to hide under a tree. They are struck effectively. The survivors are tracked in small groups to their rear base, then struck. They flee and take cover in bushes near the buildings. They are bombarded. They will endure the fury all night long. The ground fighters will continue their advance against the enemy. Several dozen criminals will be neutralized and significant logistical resources recovered. Operations are currently ongoing.
That concludes this special edition. Thank you for watching. Have a pleasant evening with our programs. Good night.
Thank you so much, families, for listening and watching. I didn't want to talk long because the video is long already. So this is how they are fighting. I hope you have taken notice of some of the videos properly, because you must see some of them on other people's channel and they'll be telling you something different. So I hope you take notice of them. It's a lot to take in, but this is how it's going. When our president, Captain Ibrahim, together with his brothers, told us that they are going to cleanse. Yes, that's the term of one of our family members under the comment section. The Captain Ibrahim said it will be a graveyard. And that person said they are cleansing the place. Yes, they are cleansing the three countries. Everything has intensified. Land, river, air, and everything. This is part of it. I promise you there is more that is going on. And if you like it, let me know. I'll bring you more. And like I said before, please, the comment section, keep it simple. Let's keep our thoughts at the back of our mind and keep it simple. And I will also keep it simple for you. Thanks for listening. Thank you so, so much. We don't want them to come forward because they don't want us to share the other side of the news. And that's why I do not even put ad on videos like this, because I'm not doing it for money or anything. I'm doing it to spread the information, the false one that they are sharing, so we will know the truth of what is going on. I mean, when I say we, those of us who do not understand French. Thank you. God bless you all, my VIPs, my kings and queens, my returning families. If you are passing by, please, why don't you consider and join our amazing family by subscribing. Credit to our TB News Faso 7.